Hi guys, welcome back to the Vanlife channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about how you can prepare your Sprinter for the winter. I put it and I didn't know it. So we're going to be talking about why winter is so difficult for Sprinters or vehicles in general, and what you can do to protect yours from having breakdown, developing issues, etc. So yeah, let's get straight into it. And obviously we've all chosen a Mercedes Sprinter for their reliability. These things are absolute tanks. This one's on 163,000 miles, 160,000 miles even, and it's running strong, barely running by Sprinter standards, but they do all struggle in the winter, as all vehicles do. Winter is a tough time. As temperatures drop, you're more likely to get failures, more likely to get issues, like I said, and Sprinters, although they are absolute tanks, they still will have issues as well. So let's get straight into it. Let's start with the engine. We'll pop the bonnet and we'll discuss what we can do to prepare our engine for the winter. Okay then, so here we are, belly of the beast. This is the 2.1 litre 4-cylinder diesel unit. All the things I say here will apply to all of the engines. So if you're in the States, in Europe, etc., we all have the same issues, so don't worry. Basically, the main thing is fluids. Fluids. During cold weather, fluids thicken up, and by no means am I saying that we have cold weather here in the UK. I know some of you guys who run these in Eastern Europe, across the continent, experience far colder weather than we do here, but the same principles apply, and in fact they probably apply far more to you guys than they do here. So first of all is oil. Obviously, get the oil change before winter. It's going to give your truck the best sort of opportunity to stay problem free. It's going to help on cold starts, lubricate the engine, reduce engine wear, and ultimately, especially with these timing chains, increase the life of the engine. I recommend, if you're in really cold temperatures, two different types of oil for winter and summer. Now, those of you in sort of regularly starting these in -10 and below, or even under 0, I recommend running 0 W30, and then for those of us who are slightly milder temperatures, a 5 W30 should be fine for the winter. So yeah, get the oil change done. Worn or broken down oil on cold mornings is a nightmare for these engines. You'll notice the efficiency is rubbish. You'll notice that they are loud and clattery, and that is because that oil is struggling to flow around. So give it the best chance you can. Get the oil changed. Fresh oil is going to flow far better than old oil. The same goes for your coolant as well. If you regularly change your coolant, you're less likely to have issues with your water pump and thermostat. Now, I know it's pretty boring, but changing a fluid more regularly is proven to reduce component wear overall. Same as your oil. If you're running dirty coolant around your coolant system, it's more likely to clog things up, stop your thermostat working as well, block up your fuel pump, etc. That's why they actually sell cleaning products for coolant. It's worth doing. Costs a couple of quid, £35 probably for the coolant, and a morning of your time. Drain it all out, replace it, bleed the system, and you're good for the winter. Neighbour's Mazda Bongo there. Again, same for brake fluid. If your brake fluid is old, looking perhaps brown, this is all brand new actually in here, just before we bought the truck. Yeah, it's all brand new brake fluid in there. It was done, the van, and a few of you guys get annoyed with me calling it a truck. So get that sorted as well. Last thing you want if you're doing a live around or relying on this for work is to have brake issues. I think we can all attest to that. We want our brakes to work. So yeah, you're less likely to have issues if it's all fresh fluid in there. Simple thing as well, your windscreen washer fluid. Now these do have a hell of a reservoir on them. I'm probably about halfway full. It's probably 5-6 litres of fluid in here, but there's nothing worse in the winter when you're driving lots of mud around, etc. It's going to coat your windscreen. If you can't clear that, it'll be a nightmare. The same goes for your washers here. Now actually, as you can see, damaged one. So it's held on by electrical tape currently, but it's taped in a position where it does work. So that is the main thing. If we just get that, there we go. It does throw in a windscreen and it's really effective. These wipers are fantastic anyway, with the tubing, the jets on there. So just make sure it's all sorted and you'll have no issues. Filters as well is another one. This filter isn't the cleanest, as you can see. It's probably 4,000 miles old, but just where we live in rural England, they clog up with rubbish. As you can see, this engine has been detailed, and it's just filthy. Especially around harvest time, you get a lot of dust, etc. prior to winter. So if it's due, or just check the condition. These are easy to check on these cars, on these vans even. Just check it. If it's filthy, change it for the sake of 20 quid for an expensive one. It's not worth choking your engine for that. You want to get the most MPG you can, especially during the cold weather. It will be affected. For those of you that rely on these for your business, etc., just get it sorted. Give yourself the best chance. You're going to save far more than 20 quid in diesel or fuel over the winter by replacing that and allowing your engine to work the best that it can. Moving on then to bodywork. A lot of people hate on sprinters for their rust issues. Now the really early ones, the early 2000 ones, they did have rust issues. These 906s can also have rust issues. They're pretty much sorted. Well, it is sorted in the 907s, but just treating your bodywork, keeping the van clean, keeping the underside clean, especially if you've got a high mileage van, especially just keep that underside clean. The salt that they use to melt the ice on the roads will play havoc with the bodywork of your van if it's not kept nice. If you've got any paint chips, etc., the salt will get in and eat away at the body panels. So just make sure that you keep your van clean throughout the winter. As long as it's kept clean and the salt is rinsed off, then you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. Tyres is another big factor in the winter. Now we all know that these sprinters at the rear with their open diff are useless in any sort of soft or slippery surface. So if you're driving where there could be ice, etc., we'll get ice over the winter. Just bear that in mind and give yourself the best chance with your tyres. Now these are fairly new tyres. They were on the van when I bought it, but I will be replacing them to a all-season Michelin Cross Climate Agilis tyre, just to give myself the best chance. They're really good at clearing water, but also they give you the best chance in terms of getting traction where it might be limited. So making sure your tyres are all up to date and in good condition is a really important one. Now tyre pressures is equally as important. Fuel economy is obviously massively affected, as is tyre wear. So ensuring that your tyres are up to pressure. For those of you that don't know, tyre pressure drops during the winter. Temperature and pressure are directly related. So if your tyre pressure or your coolant temperature is lower, then the tyre pressure will also decrease as well. So ensure that your tyre pressures are kept up to date as much as possible. It also stops wear or excess wear on your tyres. As the tyres deflate, more of the sort of wear funnily. They wear on the shoulders rather than the centre, so you actually end up speeding up the wear on the tyre. So just because the temperature is dropping, your tyre pressures will drop. Check them regularly. If you set them in the summer when they were sort of 20 degrees, it's now going to be far lower than that. Now the temperature's more than halved, so be sure to keep on top of those, especially, like I said, if you're a business, you don't want to A, be stuck with a flat tyre or a damaged tyre, and B, you don't want to be wasting fuel for the sake of just pumping your tyres up. So bear that in mind. Now something that I've found recently with lots of heavy rain, doing miles in heavy rain, is the infamous 906 body cladding issue. Now those of you with 907s and the earlier ones, bear with, but essentially what happens is water runs down the back of this cladding and goes into the van. So what you can do is strip the panelling from the van, and use just a silicone sealant. Seal up the holes where they clip in, and that'll stop you having issues. If you're getting a lot of rust along the seals, or along the sills even, that is why water's getting in behind those panels there. Now I have seen people who just run a bead of silicone sealant across here, and that can work as well. You can see mine's got a little bit of damage there on the door. So whichever floats your boat really. I've done a bit of both, and it should keep this van solid, prevent water collecting in the bottom of the doors there. Now I have seen people who just drill holes in the bottom of the doors, but yeah, that's asking for more rust really. So just check that on your van as well. And now back to the general Sprinter stuff. One of the things that really drives me mad during the winter is the fact that people drive around with headlights out and various different lights not working. We're going to spend a whole lot more time in the winter driving in the dark, and therefore lights are more important than they ever are the rest of the time of the year. So make sure that your headlights are all working, high beam, dip beam, side lights, indicator lights, etc. You'll see here that we've got a bit of moisture coming in. Some idiot has drilled a hole in here, probably to drain water because the seal's gone. What it's then done is allowed water to go in. So I'm either going to have to replace this headlight unit, or I'm going to fill that hole in and dry it out. Now, you need to get that sorted, and if you guys have the same issue, you need to get it sorted, because the moisture will damage where the bulb sits, and then you'll have to replace the whole unit anyway, because it'll all be rusted. So just bear that in mind. Same with brake lights as well, and tail lights. If you're stopping for deliveries, etc., and you don't have both tail lights, people might crash straight into your van, especially a dark coloured one like this. They're just not going to see you, and you need to give people the best chances, because let's be honest, a lot of the drivers on the road shouldn't be on the road, so we need to give yourself the best chance possible at being seen. Just make sure these electrics work. Your mirrors as well, these are one of the things that I see damaged most on Sprinters, are these mirrors here. If you've got cracked lenses there, just replace the lens. It's, like I said, it's going to cause you more issues. An MOT failure if this bulb doesn't work, water's going to get in there, muck's going to get in there and rust all the terminals, and you end up replacing the whole mirror. So just get that done as well. Now, if you guys haven't ever had your rear differential oil changed, before winter is the time to do it. Don't wait until after winter, or don't try and put it off. I know times are tight, and we want to try and reduce the amount of money going out of our accounts as much as possible, but if your rear diff fails, it's going to be far more expensive than just replacing the fluid. You're going to have to replace the whole thing, so we'll get it rebuilt. So that means your van's out of action, you could lose income, so just get it sorted. Every sort of 90,000 miles they recommend. I'd preferably go a little sooner. It's not that difficult to do, and I'll do it on the channel soon, but just, yeah, keep on top of that, because it's not worth, like I said, risking it failing over the winter. If things are going to fail, they're going to fail over winter. The time when you don't want it, time when you're most reliant on your van. If you, for example, use your van for deliveries, you'll be busy over Christmas, you want your van in tip-top condition. It's not worth wasting all the extra money getting it repaired once these things break, if you could have just done a bit of preventative maintenance and sorted them out early. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Obviously this is used as a general workhorse, but it's being converted into a camper as we speak, so I'm going to do a camper specific video later on. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe and like this video, and we'll see you next video. Cheers.